This week, a series of explosions involving wireless communication devices across Lebanon has sparked concerns over possible violations of international laws of war. These attacks, widely believed to have been carried out by Israel, have killed dozens and injured thousands. Experts argued that these actions could be considered indiscriminate and disproportionate. Devices such as pagers, walkie-talkies and cell phones associated with Hezbollah members exploded in waves of attacks on Tuesday and Wednesday. These blasts struck various locations across Lebanon, killing at least 32 people, including children and a medic, and injuring over 3,000. Medical centers were overwhelmed and panic spread as people ran into the streets in fear. Hezbollah blamed Israel for the explosions, but the Israeli military has not confirmed its involvement yet. The attacks have led to widespread devastation in a country already dealing with numerous challenges. Meanwhile, human rights groups argued that the use of booby-trapped devices in this manner violates the international humanitarian law, that is the IHL. The law prohibits attacks not directed at specific military targets. Sarah Leah Whitson, a lawyer and director of Democracy for the Arab World Now, that's the Dawn, emphasized that booby-trapping objects civilians are likely to use, like pagers, is prohibited. These types of attacks are inherently indiscriminate as they cannot be targeted at military objectives alone. Whitson argued that the explosions were a deliberate attempt to create chaos in Lebanon, causing not only physical but also psychological harm. According to the 1996 UN Protocol on Prohibitions or Restrictions on the Use of Mines, booby traps and other devices, it is illegal to use booby traps in civilian objects. Human rights lawyer Huwaida Araf echoed this, stating that the explosions violated prohibitions on indiscriminate attacks and the ban on booby-trapping civilian devices. Araf added that without proper precautions to protect civilians, such attacks could never be justified. The devices exploded without warning, causing significant harm to civilians, which makes the attack unlawful under international law. Beyond the immediate casualties, the attacks have caused severe strain on Lebanon's health system. Medical centers were overwhelmed with the influx of wounded civilians. This widespread disruption further highlights the disproportionate nature of the attacks. Human Rights Watch emphasized that booby traps are designed to prevent exactly the kind of devastation seen in Lebanon this week. The group stated that the use of such explosive devices, which cannot be reliably directed at military targets, is unlawfully indiscriminate. Despite the destruction caused by the blasts, Hezbollah continued its attack on Israeli military bases in northern Israel. The explosions did not seem to affect Hezbollah's military capabilities, further raising questions about the strategic purpose of the attack. The long-term impact of these explosions on Lebanon's civilian population and health infrastructure remains a serious concern for rights groups and legal experts alike. The attacks on Lebanon have drawn significant criticism from international law experts who argue that these actions likely breach the laws of war. The use of booby-trapped devices in civilian areas has caused widespread devastation, killed civilians, and overwhelmed Lebanon's healthcare system. The fallout from these attacks is likely to continue as legal and ethical concerns mount.